Good morning, everyone. It's Brenda Quintana, and today we are going to make a card using the Cottage Rose stamp set. And I'm just going to wait a little bit just to give everyone a chance to get on here, because when I go live on Facebook originally, and then I will post this video to YouTube afterwards, it takes a while for everyone to for Facebook to populate and for people to find me and everything. So last week I was in the middle of a lot of stress because we were putting in an offer on a house, which we did not get, but that's okay. It ended up with, I don't know at what point I was, I guess it was in the morning. We were considering putting in an offer on the house on Tuesday, and by the time we got to the noon deadline, there were 6 offers on the house, and the next day we found out we didn't get the house, and it went for over 200K over asking price, at least 200K, my agent said. So needless to say, I'm okay with that because we had a certain budget in mind, and this particular house needed renovations to get it up to where we would want it at. And so it was a beautiful location, but our budget just couldn't stretch that far to compete with those other bids, which is absolutely fine. We will just keep going and keep trying to find the house for us. And I know it's kind of it's actually a crazy time to buy because right now the prices are up at the top of the market, but also that has it's in the Boston area. It's also about competition for houses and getting the right house, because there since we've moved here, there hasn't been a lot of supply on the market. So it's always been hard to get the right house here. So, but anyway, we just kind of jumped back in, but we're patient. This could take a while, and hopefully one day we will find a house here in the Boston area so we can put down some roots, and that would be really, really awesome. All right, but you didn't come here probably to hear about my house saga. You probably came to see what card we were going to make today. And so you are in the right place. And today is what we call Casing Tuesday. And that's the day when we take a card out of one of the Stampin' Up! Catalogs and we give it a makeover. And there's a group of us that does it each week. And then we open it up to the public as well, so everyone can join in and do this challenge with us. And whether you do it privately and just do it for your own satisfaction, or whether you want to post it on our Facebook group, either way is fine. You are welcome to join our Facebook group and just lurk and see what everyone else is doing. It's really neat to see how one card can turn into so many different cards. So let's take a look at what today's card is. Here it is. It's a beautiful fall card, isn't it? Those leaves are so beautiful, and I just look at them and I think, why did I not get that stamp set? So I'll tell you in a moment what I did instead, to kind of get the look of fall leaves. But those are just so gorgeous the way they've overlapped it. I think this makes for a really nice, simple card layout. So I think it will be easy for people to do this one. So let me just show you the sketch with the measurements. Here it is. And if you don't like crooked layers, just straighten them out. I straightened my layers out this time, but it just will give you an idea of the basic measurements. You don't have to be precise with these measurements. You can change them a little bit. Sometimes my image is a little larger or smaller. I need to change things, or my greeting is larger or smaller. Or sometimes I don't like a layer and I just take it off the card. It's kind of about having a starting point and using this sketch and the card as a starting point to create your card. Okay, we're gonna wipe those away. Good morning, everyone who's joined me so far. I will talk to you all at the end because I get very distracted and we would never finish this card if I started talking now. So let me pop over to my other camera. I just looked over my shoulder to see if it was on. Okay, so let's have a look. So I actually made 2 cards based on the sketch. I made this one and I made this one. So either one, if you want to fill your card with a lot of florals or if you want to leave a little white space. I originally did this card, but then I thought maybe it was a little too busy. And so I thought maybe this card had a little bit more feel of the original card because it had a little bit more white space around it. So either one you can do it. And I'll show you how I colored my flowers to give them that kind of different sort of colored look. So I used the Cottage Rose stamp set, and this one was one of our World Card Making Day stamp sets. So they did a card using this one. I like this stamp set a lot because it's got images, plus it's got some really nice greetings. Look at that one. You are positively the greatest, best wishes. It's going to be fab. Like you could pair that with happy birthday. It's going to be fab. Friends forever. And the one I'm using is feel better soon. This bundle also does have a matching die set, which I didn't use today. They are called the Cottage Flowers dies. This is in the annual catalog, so it will probably, it will be around next year. It may retire, I'm not sure. But it is a nice basic stamp set with lots of good images and greetings. So I also used, I should mention the Stylish Shapes dies. I've been using these ones a lot lately because they have these nice labels and circles and squares, which are always super useful. Okay, let's get started and make the stamp set. So we'll start off with a card base, and I used old olive cardstock here, and this is 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it in half at the 4 1/4 inch mark, and then I folded it. And let's make it really flat because I want to stamp on here. I'm going to take a little piece of scrap paper. I've already used it a little bit. This is just, I have a stack of computer paper that I've cut into quarter sheets. So this is just, and I use them for designing, and I also use them for scrap paper because they don't take up too much room. And I've got my Cottage Rose stamp. This is just mounted on an E-block. Okay, you just you get a set of blocks, and then you just mount your stamps on them. You peel them on and off and put them in the stamp case. And I'm going to use old olive ink on old olive cardstock, so it kind of creates a look of a watermark. So I'm just going to tap this ink pad on here lightly. And then I'm going to, this is the bottom corner, I'm just going to put a rose down here. And do the same up here for this top corner. And I really, truly, I just want a little bit of this to show up on the back of the card. Just like in the original card, there was some stamping in the background. Okay, so now we can set this aside. And we're going to bring out our piece of thick Very Vanilla. And I am going to be using a water brush today, and this is not watercolor paper, which is okay if you don't use a lot of water. If I was using a lot of water, then I would definitely want to use watercolor paper. So I'm going to clean off my stamp. I'm cleaning it off on my chamois back here. This is my Stampin' Chamois. This is what it looks like. This is closer to what it looked like originally, but as you clean off your stamp, it's going to get kind of gross looking, and you run this underwater and the residual ink washes off, but it leaves a bit of staining on there. But trust me, this cleans your stamp super, super well. And I have this just sitting over on a little tray off camera, and that's what I use to clean off my stamps. So now I'm going to switch to Tuxedo Black Ink. Open this up, and I'm going to tap on here, and I'm going to use my card as a little sample. We're just going to do the 2 rose card. So this first rose that's down here at the bottom, I want most of this rose on the card. It can come off a little bit. And lift off. And then we're going to stamp up top here. So ink it up again. This one I have to press down a little harder because it's got a linen top. Okay. And then I'm just kind of bringing this in. I want this really close to the rose, as close as possible. And we'll just bring that in. Stamp it down. Actually, this rose ended up being more on the card than this one. But whatever, it doesn't really matter. Just get them on there. And I think I put this the right way. Yeah, I did. Okay, so because this is ink that is, it is not waterproof ink. So I want to heat set it just a little bit. This is just going to help. It's not going to fully waterproof it, but it's going to help a little bit with the bleeding. So I'm just going to turn it on high. And, you know, just similarly to when you dye something and you heat set it, this just helps keep it from running too much. Okay. All right. So I want to do that first, but I'm actually going to use sponge daubers first and then my water brush because this makes it faster. And I like fast. Okay, so first let's take some Poppy Parade, and I've designated 1 sponge dauber per color. And we're going to do, I'm trying to think if we should do this one down here. This one came up a little bit more, so let's go ahead. And I'm just going to brush from the outside of the petal in, kind of brush forward. You know, the sponge dauber, I've had my sponge daubers for a while, and I think the sponge dauber is kind of giving up the ghost. You know what? I'm going to grab a new one. Okay, sorry for that. So after a while, I will say my sponge daubers last a long, long time. But they do tend to like start to like crumble after a while, like most foam does. So let's see. I think, yeah, this is going to be a little better. I'm just brushing. It's okay if you go outside the lines. And I'm just going to bring this in, the petals. Leave the center blank. I'm going to bring in a different color afterwards for the center. Okay. So you can see, I want to just show you. Here's my rose sponge daubered, and then you can see the difference between the sponge daubered one and the one that I've used a watercolor brush with. So it just blends out afterwards. Okay, so I'm going to take this, close it up, move that aside, and then we'll take Crushed Curry. It's another fall color, and I'll do the same with Crushed Curry. Let's sponge daub off a bit, and we'll just come in. And, you know, this is not a particular technique I learned anywhere. I just like to experiment. You know, that's the fun part of card making. It doesn't have to be super serious, right? You can have fun and play around, and I'm going outside the lines a little bit. Okay, so there's my yellow rose, and you can see my blended one looks a little different. Okay, and then we're gonna we're gonna just hit those leaves. And the leaves are just a little bit harder to do because they're smaller. So what I do for that, sponge dauber and kind of sponge dauber maybe on the side of it. And then I'm just gonna hold this on an angle, so I'm just hitting the side a little bit. So I'm just kind of hitting the leaves on the side rather than the full on sponge dauber. Okay, so again, I'm gonna hit it on the side, side, side. Just get all those little leaves, and don't worry if it doesn't look good. We're gonna do a little blending. Okay, and then this looks to me like baby's breath. We're just gonna leave that. Remember when baby's breath was really popular in flower arrangements? It's just super popular. Okay, I'm gonna turn this over. Okay, so now we have our water brush, and one thing about our water brushes is to open up the reservoir, you need to twist the opposite of righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. That's the only weird thing about these water brushes. So just remember that, because otherwise you'll be like me, like, what is going on? Because if I haven't used these in a while, I'll forget. And when I go to fill the reservoir with water, I'll be like struggling so much. It's just the opposite direction. Don't know why, but this is the cap. And what you want to do is you want to squeeze the barrel here and get some of the water going. You want a little bit of a wet brush, but not super wet. Okay, so let's do this Poppy Parade flower first. And I'm just gonna come in and do each petal. And the interesting thing about Poppy Parade when I'm doing this is you can see, I'm gonna just lift off for a second. You can see it's bleeding out a little bit of yellow. So Poppy Parade has some yellow undertones to it. So kind of is neat. I know, like anyone that is a true artist will be looking at my watercoloring methodology in horror. But remember, experimentation. You know, don't be afraid to experiment. It's all good, right? And as long as you're having fun. And if you don't like it, guess what? It's just a piece of paper, right? You can start over. That's what I love about paper crafting. It's a very accessible art form, and you can finish your art in one evening. You can come home from work and finish it. Okay, I like the way that rose turned out. Kind of pretty. It's kind of got a two-tone. I think I like the way my Poppy Parade rose turned out a little bit better than my crushed curry, because crushed curry just kind of stays yellow. It doesn't bring out an undertone or anything, but I like it because I'm kind of trying to emulate the leaf colors of the original card. That's what I'm trying to get at. And at least when I'm doing this, it's just blending out the sponging a little bit. So it definitely is doing something. And I'm keeping my brush fairly dry. Just squeezing out in between. Okay. There is my... Now I'll do the leaves as well. And don't be afraid to go outside the lines. That's watercoloring. is not precise, for sure. It's not meant to be. I kind of like the look of watercoloring. Okay, I'm almost done. There we go. I think I'm getting better at it as time goes on. I did a few different samples. Okay, so for this little red one, let's just bring in just a tiny bit of yellow. Just brush a little yellow on there. And for the other rose, let's brush a little tiny bit of old olive on there. Try and be a little less heavy-handed. There, I think that's good. I want it to be, on this one I want a little heavy, so I'm trying to be a little lighter. Okay, and you can blend that out, but I'm actually not. I'm not going to blend out the centers. All right, so there is the first part of the card. And now we can bring it in, and you can decide whether or not you want the yellow rose down or the red rose. I think I'm going to put the red rose down. And then we'll just take some Tombow and add it to the card base. So, you know, I didn't buy any leaf sets this year. And I actually kind of liked the leaf set, but I just didn't make it onto into my cart. So this is kind of fall flowers. Okay, so now we need a greeting for here. And we're going to use the stylish shape. So you can just run that through the die cutting machine. And I actually cut a label in advance because I was feeling like I didn't feel like die cutting on camera today. But this will fit through the mini cut and emboss machine or the regular Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, either one. You just run it through. And then we've got our little label, and then I've got my little greeting. It says "Feel Better Soon." And we'll just ink that up in old olive ink. And just kind of center it on there. Feel better real soon. Okay. And then we'll add, where did the ribbon go? This is ribbon. It's a natural woven ribbon. And I'll just grab a little piece, about like that. And I'm going to add some Terran tape to the bottom of here. Just run a line and then tear it off. I'm going to remove the backing. And just lay this down here, just wherever you feel it looks good. Okay. And then you can have a look. Do you want to cut it off a little bit more? Can. That. So you could use a piece of cardstock underneath there or ribbon, whatever makes you happy. And then we'll use some dimensionals on the back right here. Okay. Whoops. Throwing stuff around. And I'll just pull this off. And then just flip this, and you can put it wherever it makes you happy. I think it was a little higher up on the original card, and I remember this layer was slightly tilted, slightly more centered, but just kind of put it where you like it. And then get rid of these little dimensional. Okay, so this month, my host code gift of the month is these Festive Pearls. And so I wanted to show you how I would use them on the card. I've used the silver ones here. They come in red, kind of, I would say this is kind of a blue, green, silver, and gold. Let's do this one with the gold ones. And I'm just trying to kind of bring them around. I'm thinking to try and highlight this little greeting right here, so you can just kind of put them in this general vicinity. And I always like to use odds, so I think that looks good. So this one I did with silver, and this one I did with gold. And then I think I'm getting better at doing this. All right, and then this is the one that I did. This was one of my first ones that I did. So you can see, you know, if you want to leave a little white space, you can, or you can fill it up. When I stamped this one, what I did was I stamped these two roses first, and then I came in and I filled in, just twisted it around and just filled in the opposite areas, just trying to get them as close as possible without overlapping. And if you have trouble with that positioning, like doing that, what I would suggest is, you know, just have a stack of scrap paper by you, those quarter sheets of computer paper. Just have a stack and just practice, because that's what I did. Like, I probably have, I want to say, at least 4 or 5 of these pieces in the trash, and I started off on computer paper. So I also experimented a little bit. So don't think that I can just stamp perfectly the first time and get the arrangement just right. I play with the arrangement. If you want to create my exact arrangement, though, you can just copy what I've done, and then you don't have to do as many times stamping. So, but if you're stamping with a new stamp, just, you know, use some computer paper, because it's a little cheaper than using cardstock, and then you can just experiment and you don't have to feel bad about wasting cardstock. So I like the way those turned out in fall colors without leaves, and just a little bit different watercoloring technique. And it's also nice because I feel it's a little faster, because you lay down color first and you just kind of push the color around just a teeny tiny bit. So it's a lot faster than if I had to watercolor these from scratch. Also, if I were watercoloring these completely with no color placed on here before using the water brush, I think I would probably want to use some watercolor paper, and then I would probably switch to Stays On ink, because Stays On ink is a permanent ink and it won't bleed, versus the Tuxedo Black, which will bleed. So just something to keep in mind if you were to just totally watercolor those. Okay, I'm back over here. I mentioned my host code, so let me pop that up. That's my host code for the month, and if you spend $50 with me this month, you will be getting the Festive Pearls. You'll be getting a full pack, not my half pack with little pieces picked off of it already, but that will be mailed to you in November. And if you ordered from me last month, all of the gifts were mailed off yesterday, and sorry for the lateness of all of that. Last week was so chaotic with the house, and with our son and his girlfriend were here as well. So that also added to everything. And I feel like I'm the type of person that gets involved with everything. You know, I'm involved with cooking dinner. I'm involved with what they're doing and where they're going. And it ends up sucking up a lot of time, and I just could not concentrate to get everything done. So on the weekend, got everything ready, and they were dropped off at the post office Monday morning. So those packages should be starting to arrive, I think, tomorrow. I looked, the tracking was saying Wednesdays and Thursdays, and probably some more people out to the end of the week. And then the pearls, those are, it's all of October that you can have the chance to earn it. And then in November, that's when I mail those out to you. Okay. Oh, and I wanted to mention today, it's also, there's the clearance rack. I hope you've had a chance to look. This morning before I came on here, there was a bunch of beautiful papers on there. And like, I'm not sure if all of them were 60% off, but if you need some, there was Halloween paper, there was fall paper. I think there was some Christmas paper too. Go have a look, and some ribbon. There was some really nice real red sheer ribbon, which I used last year, and it was really great. So definitely go and stock up on getting some really great paper, because our paper is just beautiful, the double-sided paper. And when you can get it at like 60% off, it's like awesome. I know, like that, I think that's the highest discount is 60% off. I definitely saw some in there that was 60%. And I don't know if there's others that have different levels, but go get yourself some good deals today. I know the paper sells out really quickly, so don't put it in your cart in the morning thinking you can still get it at night. I've had people do that and then be disappointed that when they go to checkout, they have to remove that stuff from because it's gone already. So just like make up your mind quickly on what you want to order and place it. Don't wait too long for that. Okay, what else do I have to tell you? What else is going on? Geez, my brain is just not all there this morning. But give my post a little like. That will brighten my day and help other people find me. And now I'm going to come over and talk to all of you. Hello, Pam. Good morning. Oh, and Pam shared my video. Thank you so much. Good morning, Marty. Marty says it's nice to hear what's going on in my life. Well, thank you. Good morning, Ellie from Connecticut. And she says she loves the stamp set. And good morning, Janine. And you don't have to be sorry for being late. I'm just glad you're here. Ellie said, thanks for reviewing the water brush. Yeah, you know what? I really like water brushes. They are fun, they're portable, and like they just use water. That's like so cool. And you don't have to have, you know what would happen if I had a container of water on my desk? It would probably be knocked over because I have very poor peripheral vision and I tend to knock things over if they're in my periphery. So this is why water brushes are great for that. Good morning, Dee. Deborah says she loves the color and the watercolor technique. Well, thank you, Deborah. Dee said the watercolors are very pretty and I love the tone on tone in the background. Very warm get well card. Well, thank you everyone for being here this morning. I hope you have a great day. Don't forget this month our starter kit is on special. So if you're not already, if you haven't already gotten the starter kit, it is such a great deal. Normally you get $125 worth of product in your starter kit, and right now you get $155 in your starter kit, and the starter kit costs $99. So that's like $56 in extra product. Plus, if you were to do it really quickly, if you knew what you want already, you can put clearance rack stuff on your starter kit. It's just that you have to get through the start to finish process first. So it would be a good idea to have your list ready of everything that you wanted. But if you needed to put clearance rack stuff on there, it's anything that's orderable from the Stampin' Up! Store is what you can put on your starter kit, and the starter kit ships for free. And then you're part of my team and my Stampin' Up! Family, which is awesome. Some of my family is here today. Hello, Bee Stampers. Okay, everyone, I hope you have a great day, and I will see you on Friday on my YouTube channel for another tutorial, either a 3D or a fancy fold card. Take care. Bye-bye.